Hi, I'm Charlene Laney, co-founder of Newmaker Financial and certified financial planner. I am very excited today to introduce a special guest. We're going to be doing an interview series specifically for small business owners. Her name is Holly Likorchik, and she is a CPA working with business owners really all across the US. Holly, I would love for you to introduce yourself, and then we'll dive into some important topics.
Thank you, Shar, and thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to talk to you and to talk to all of you out there, all you small business owners. So I'm the founder of Likorchik Group. We offer tax prep, tax planning, and fractional level CFO services to small business owners just like yourself. What would make me different than a typical CPA is that most typical CPAs really are what I like to call historians. They look in the rearview mirror and they make sure that all of your numbers are in the correct boxes, which is so important. I'm definitely not saying that that's not important work. It's so important. But you also need a CPA who will help you get to where you want to go. So I also help you look through the windshield so we know where we're going.
Right. Yeah, it's so important. To your point, looking in the rearview mirror and making sure all of the numbers are correct and that we are keeping to our legal obligations from a tax
Right.
standpoint. So important. But at the same time, if we're going to do better with our taxes in the future, we need someone who's going to help us look through the windshield as well. So I love that metaphor. Thank you for sharing that. And why don't we dive into our first topic for this interview, which is actually going to be for those of us who are small business owners and we're within our first year of our practice. What are the best habits that we can put into place?
Yep. So there's a couple best habits that I talk about with all of my new solopreneurs. The first thing is to make sure that you have a separate bank account that you are using for your business expenses. If you're going to use a credit card, make sure that is separate as well. This is going to be super important as you go to track your expenses and your revenue at year end. It makes it so much easier to have it all in one place. The second tip that I would tell you is to make sure that you're keeping receipts. None of us ever anticipate being audited. None of us want to be audited. But if you were to get audited, having those receipts is really going to be what's going to save you. So a couple tips that I have is because most of us order things online, you're probably getting a lot of receipts in your email. Create another folder in your email, in your email inbox, and just move all of those receipts into one folder so that you have it. If you get a physical receipt, I also at the start of the year create an envelope that's like, hey, these are my 2023 receipts. And I throw those in there so that I have them in case I would ever need them.
I love that. Okay, so top two things are that are the best habits we should put into practice as small business owners, ideally within the first year. If you're beyond your first year, it's not too late, folks. But number one being to keep your expenses separate for good,
Yes.
clean bookkeeping hygiene, whether it be your business checking account. I mean, that's an absolute right, as well as a credit card specifically for business expenses. And then the second item being to actually keep receipts. Not that we want to make an audit happen for ourselves, but in preparation for that potentially ever happening, we keep either the physical receipts as well as the online receipts via email. Just having a separate folder, having a separate envelope for the physical receipts can be hugely helpful. That is so great. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Holly. Anything else that you can think of that small business owners tend to forget, or just the main habits that we need to put into practice?
Yeah, I think I'd like to follow up a little bit on the second one that we talked about with receipts. People tell me all the time, well, you can see on my bank account that I bought something from Staples. And without that physical receipt, it's really hard to know what it is that you purchased. And so 5 years from now, when you're sitting in front of the IRS agent for an audit, you're probably not going to remember exactly what you spent at Staples. And so having the receipt in front of you, you'll be able to prove that it was in fact a business expense and not that you were buying something for your home.
That is a really important distinction. Thank you for sharing that with us, because just having the name of the place from that you made the purchase is simply not enough in the event of an audit, which is why it's so important that we keep those actual receipts via email or physical receipts.
Correct.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Holly, for sharing this great information with us for our small business owners. Next week, we have another important topic we'll be discussing. So excited to share that with you. Thank you for watching. If you haven't yet, please like, share, and subscribe. And for those of you who want more information about Holly, I have linked to her website in the description. We'll see you next week.